Welcome to Deep Dive. Today, we're really unlocking the power of business English. Forget the dry textbooks, okay?
Yes.
We're diving straight into the vocabulary, the phrases that you actually hear and use in the global business world. So whether you're prepping for a big meeting, looking to, move up in your career, or maybe you're just curious about how the international marketplace speaks, this deep dive should give you some valuable insights.
It's absolutely right. Business English isn't just sounding formal or anything. It's really the engine driving international commerce. Think about it, right? Every negotiation, every email between global teams, every cross-border project relies on clear communication in this language. And with remote work being so huge now, getting it right isn't just nice to have. It's fundamental.
Okay, so it's clearly vital.
Yeah.
But why English? Why did it become the main language for global business?
Well, if you look at the history, several things sort of came together. The economic clout of English-speaking countries, historically, that played a big part, yeah? But maybe even more important now is just the sheer amount of business resources, research, training, everything that's available in English. It's become the common ground, the place where professionals from all different language backgrounds can connect, collaborate, seal deals, or even just network effectively.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Okay, so let's get practical. What are some of the absolute must-know words, the core vocabulary someone needs?
Right, let's start with the basics. The word business itself, notice it's often pronounced more like business.
Oh, yeah.
And while you might hear businessman, the term you'll mostly see and should probably use is the inclusive one, business person. Beyond those, think about core activities. You've got a meeting, that crucial discussion time, your schedule, how you manage time, the office, obviously, and the really important one, the contract, that binding agreement.
Got it. Contract, schedule, meeting. Okay. What other foundational words should be top of mind?
Definitely the money words. Income, what you earn. A loan, when you borrow money. An invoice, which is the bill you send or receive. And your budget, the financial plan.
Okay.
And because time is always a factor, deadline is absolutely key. When you're suggesting something new, that's usually a proposal. Then you have brand, the company's identity, really. An advertisement, how they shout about it, and the people involved. A client you provide services for, and the customer service that keeps them happy.
Right, client and customer service.
Yeah.
Crucial. What about terms for how businesses are structured or operate?
Good question. Think about size and structure. A branch is like an offshoot of a bigger company. A supplier is essential. They provide the stuff you need maybe to a factory where things are made. Leadership terms like executives are common. You might hire a consultant for specific advice. The person starting it all, that's the entrepreneur. And the interactions, negotiation, the back and forth, working with a partner in a partnership, and having a clear strategy, hopefully driving innovation and good performance. And of course, the company itself. Maybe offering a full-time job managed by HR, human resources who look after the workforce.
That's a really solid base. What about the more purely financial language, the bigger picture stuff?
No, absolutely essential. Investment, putting money in, hoping for more back. Outsourcing, getting someone else to do part of the work. Risk management, spotting, and handling potential problems. Very important. You'll hear about the annual report, summing up the year, the board of directors who oversee things, led by the CEO, the chief executive officer.
Right.
Compliance is about following the rules. A merger is when two companies join up. Owners are shareholders, but anyone with an interest is a stakeholder. Big difference.
Okay.
Then the core numbers. Revenue, all the money coming in. Expenses, the money going out. Hopefully you have profit, not a loss. Assets are what you own. Liabilities are what you owe. Equity is the net worth. You want growth, obviously. And you can't forget tax.
Phew, that's a lot of key terms. A great vocabulary foundation. Now, let's switch gears a bit. What about those phrases you always hear? The idioms, the conversational shortcuts in business.
Yes, these are everywhere. They make the conversation flow. Like, let's touch base.
Oh, yeah. Hear that one constantly.
It just means, let's connect again soon, usually quite informally. Or think outside the box. That's all about encouraging creative ideas, different approaches.
Right.
Hit the ground running means starting something immediately, full speed ahead. Get the ball rolling is about initiating something, starting the process. And to check everyone understands and agrees, you might ask, are we on the same page?
Definitely staples. What else should people listen up for? Any others that are really common?
Sure. For a good outcome for everyone, that's a win-win situation. If you need to contact someone specifically, I'll touch base with you. Slightly different. Wanting to be kept informed, you want to be in the loop. If someone wants to get straight to the important part, they might say, let's cut to the chase. Someone new learning the job needs to learn the ropes. Being proactive, starting something yourself, is to take the initiative. And trying to anticipate future trends. That's staying ahead of the curve.
Hear those all the time, too. What about phrases for results or, finishing up?
Okay, so if income just covers costs, no profit, no loss, you break even. Finish something early. You're ahead of schedule. Need the latest info. You need to get up to speed. To summarize quickly, you can say, in a nutshell, if you contribute something valuable, you bring something to the table. Finishing work, that's call it a day.
Yeah.
Updating someone else is bringing them up to speed. And if you want them to update you, just ask, keep me posted.
Fantastic. That's super helpful. Okay, briefly then, what about grammar? Does it need special attention in business English?
Absolutely. I mean, clarity is just paramount in business. Misunderstandings can be costly. So using the right verb tenses is really crucial for that precision.
Like what, for example?
Well, simple examples. Present simple for routines. We hold our team meeting every Tuesday. Present continuous for things happening now. We are developing a new strategy. Past simple for completed actions. We finalized the budget last week. And future simple for plans. We will launch the product next quarter. Getting those right makes a huge difference to clarity. A small, tense error can sometimes really change the meaning.
That's a great point about precision. Okay, so meetings. They're such a huge part of business life.
Yeah.
What specific vocabulary and phrases are essential for navigating meetings effectively?
Right. Meetings have their own little ecosystem of language. Before you start, there's the meeting agenda, the plan for the discussion. You'll have opening remarks to kick things off. And ideally, you finish with a clear action plan. Who does what, by when. You'll hear lots of the phrases we just talked about, like touch base for follow-ups. To get people comfortable at the start, someone might try to break the ice. To start the main topic, let's get the ball rolling. If something needs discussing later, let's circle back to that. Talking about future actions uses going forward.
Okay, standard stuff.
Yeah.
But what about those slightly more idiomatic, maybe even buzzwordy phrases you hear in meetings?
Yes, those. They definitely add some color.
Yeah.
Encouraging new ideas is thinking outside the box. Aiming for that outcome, good for all sides, a win-win situation. If you need to make real progress, you need to move the needle.
Right.
If a side discussion is getting too long for the meeting, someone will say, let's take this offline. If a plan fails, it's back to the drawing board. Making things more efficient might involve needing to trim the fat, less waste.
Okay.
Checking for agreement. Are we all on the same page?
Right.
A detailed look at one topic is a deep dive. Getting organized beforehand is getting your ducks in a row. Agreeing to a plan. You're on board.
Yeah.
If someone changes the targets unfairly, they're moving the goalposts. Postponing a topic for later is, let's park that. Being ambitious, trying new things, is pushing the envelope. Examining details closely is to drill down into something.
Okay.
Planning ahead is forward planning. That elusive perfect fix is a silver bullet, though usually they don't exist. You want to avoid cutting corners. That implies reducing quality. And ending the meeting, let's call it a day, followed by follow-up questions, closing remarks, and the final wrap-up.
That's incredibly practical advice for meetings.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Now, let's explore how business English might differ a bit depending on the industry. How about we start with marketing?
Okay, marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely has its own jargon. You'll hear B2B, business to business, focus on brand awareness and the whole process of branding.
Right.
A call to action, or CTA, tells people what to do next, often backed by a case study. Watch out for clickbait, though. Strategies include cold calling, perhaps less common now, and definitely content marketing. They measure the conversion rate along the customer journey, using customer segmentation to target groups. Everyone hopes something will go viral. Influencer marketing is huge. They direct people to a landing page based on market research, aiming for smooth onboarding. Key metrics are ROI, return on investment, and SEO, search engine optimization. They track social media engagement with their target audience using testimonials to build trust, all highlighting their unique selling proposition, or USP.
A lot of acronyms there. So switching to sales, what's the key language there?
Sales is all about the transaction, really. Finding a bargain, maybe deciding to buy in bulk. The buyer deals with the client or customer to close the sale. Hopefully it's seen as good value for money. Paperwork includes the invoice. You might need to negotiate. Bad news if something's out of stock. Payment can be in full or via payment by installments or a payment plan. You identify a prospect, make a purchase based on a quote. If things go wrong, maybe a refund. The retailer sells to the public. The seller gives the sales pitch. If it's all gone, it's sold out. You get goods from a supplier, maybe after a trial, and wholesalers sell large amounts to other businesses.
Makes sense. Okay, moving to the core engine room, finance and accounting.
Right, finance. Here, assets are what a company owns. It's all laid out on the balance sheet. You aim to pass the break-even point, working within your budget. Capital is the money needed to operate. You track cash flow. Assets lose value through depreciation.
Okay.
Equity is the owner's stake. Expenses are the costs. You want a good gross profit shown on the income statement. Managing inventory is vital. Liabilities are debts. You hope to avoid a loss and make a solid net profit from your total revenue.
And the people side of things.
Yeah.
Human resources, HR.
HR has its own set of terms, too. They might use an applicant tracking system, or ATS. They assess behavioral competency, often using benchmarking against standards. Broadbanding relates to salary structures. New hires sign a confidentiality agreement. When someone leaves, there's an exit interview. Serious problems are gross misconduct. Roles are defined in a job description. Performance is measured by key performance indicators, or KPIs.
API.
New hires go through onboarding and orientation. It's all part of recruitment and thinking about succession planning and overall talent management.
Right. And finally, the legal side of business English. Can get tricky, I imagine.
It certainly can. Precision is key here. It often starts with an agreement, maybe with an appendix for extra details. Not following the rules is a breach of contract based on the specific clauses in the contract. Copyright protects creative works. Fail to comply means not meeting obligations. Always read the fine print. Intellectual property covers ideas and inventions. Disagreements can become a legal dispute, needing a legal expert. A legally binding document is enforceable. If it's invalid, it's null and void. Each side is a party. You might need to terminate a contract based on its terms. Protecting a trademark is also vital.
That's a fantastic run-through of the different sectors. Okay, quick question. Are there any common business terms that often get confused? Pairs of words we should be clear on.
Yes, definitely a few common pitfalls. Client versus customer is a big one.
Right. What's the difference there, really?
Generally, a client receives a service, often implying a longer-term relationship. A customer usually buys a product, maybe just once.
Okay, client service, customer product. Got it.
Yeah.
Any others?
Yeah, collaboration versus cooperation. Collaboration is usually working together on the same thing. Cooperation might be working separately, but towards a similar goal, maybe helping each other out.
Ah, subtle but important.
Then there's market share versus market penetration. Market share is your slice of the existing pie. Market penetration is about how much your product is being used compared to its total potential market.
Okay.
Revenue versus profit, super important. Revenue is all the money coming in. Profit is what's left after all the costs are paid. Big difference.
Absolutely.
And finally, marketing versus advertising. Marketing is the whole big strategy, branding, research, pricing, promotion. Advertising is just one part of promotion, usually the paid stuff like ads.
Those distinctions are really useful. Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, so to wrap up this part, what are some really concrete, practical tips for our listeners to actually improve their business English?
Well, immersion is key, like we said. For listening, definitely tune into business podcasts, financial news like Bloomberg.
Good idea.
For reading, pick up things like the Financial Times, Wall Street Journal, The Economist. Even free resources from places like the BBC or CNN Business are great. The more you expose yourself to the real language, the better.
Makes sense. What about actively using it?
Crucial. If you can, practice speaking with colleagues who use English. Don't be shy. Start building your own personal dictionary or glossary of new terms and phrases you hear. And learn words in context, full sentences, not just lists. It helps you understand usage.
Right.
Read stuff specific to your field reports, articles. Practice writing emails, notes, summaries. Using templates for business letters or emails can be a good start if you're unsure.
Okay.
Always review and edit your writing. Tools like Grammarly can help catch mistakes. Active listening is huge. Pay attention in meetings, watch shows with English subtitles on. Notice how people phrase things.
So paying attention to native speakers.
Exactly. And participating. Talk to colleagues, friends, go to networking events or conferences in English if you can. Maybe take a specific business English conversation class. Learning apps like Busuu can supplement that. Read specialized books in your industry. Join study groups or online forums. Basically, engage with it actively.
Wow, okay. We have certainly covered a huge amount of ground in this deep dive into business English, from that foundational vocabulary and those everyday phrases, right through to the specific language of different sectors. It's clear that understanding this is, well, it's a real asset in today's connected world. Maybe think about how some of these insights apply to your own work, your own professional life, and, how boosting your business English could potentially open some new doors for you. Thank you so much for listening. We look forward to our next episode.